Hello all, it is that panda guy, and I'm here again with another video, and there's a lot of stuff from G2 that I do want to post, but there's only a video a day, so we are gonna hop into this. And to start off, we are looking at actually how we were being jailed in. So coming into Island G2, we actually had 0 allies, and honestly that's how it actually ended, though I guess you could consider us technically being allied with, Boone, Mob, Soap, but there was no official alliance. So honestly, when we got like kind of held here, I already had thought, yeah, this is pointless. We won't even get our first capture rewards, but we see Captain just jumping in here, kind of saving us, just throwing himself into a murder ball of basically tier 6 over here. I'm trying my best to help. I am a weakling when you kind of put us into this kind of bracket. I'm no whale, so honestly, any trades I'm taking here, lose or win them, I am really hurting. I only have a limited hospital kind of going into this bracket, so whatever I can heal is really limited, and it's actually going to be really hurting me here. So I'm doing my best to kind of keep up, trying to help Captain, because I don't want him doing all the work. And then we also have Boone come in from the top, and I really have to thank them for that, because I was actually pretty sad, and not even just in my own case. I was just sad because I didn't want my, members not to get that first capture reward, because it's pretty discouraging. So this was honestly amazing that these guys did manage to come through. Kind of pitted us more so against ANCS than we already were, since, they kind of were holding us from actually capturing our level 6. And they do end up kind of pushing for it and taking it later on. And I think I'll do that in another video where I kind of go through what happens when we take it back. We do end up zeroing this like 100 mil plus, dude, which was pretty cool. And yeah, I mean, that's basically how it went. But a lot of this video will actually be looking at kind of a little field battle that you guys are going to see, and I'm going to kind of explain how I feel about these situations and what I think just was lacking in just the whole field battle. I feel like there's so much that Boone could work on. I've noticed this a lot concerning them, like overcommitting stuff, tunnel vision, maybe just stuff like that. I feel that's definitely something that people like really struggle with over there. Honestly, man, I can't say it enough though how appreciative that I am that they did this. And we were actually unable to actually get into our tower, so it was like an 8-hour build. And I think when this happened, some people actually slipped in, so the build went down from like 8 hours to maybe being like 20 to 30 minutes or something around that timeline. And then basically when this happened, I started getting my accounts ready. And the thing is, like I said, this is a tier 6 battle. This is a whale battle. Even if we tried to swarm the field, we honestly would be hurting ourselves more in the long run of this island, since it is only day 1. And like I gotta say this again and again, we aren't whales. We have very limited to what we can heal, how much we can fight. So I decided that the most that we could do was honestly try to get this first capture on the building or the village whenever the time went out. And I gotta be honest, I honestly felt really bad, but I knew that I couldn't really help much. And, like I said, I was very limited on the healing I could do. So, having these guys fighting our battle was honestly really, I felt so much shame. But, there's really nothing I can do in this case. Like, it's just too many tier 6. I'm still bloated on tier 5. And like I said, the best we could do was try to get this village and try to back up. I don't want to make Boone fight this, or Mob fight this with us for any longer than they have to. It's honestly draining, and I'm sure they have better places they could be, kind of building their own towers, kind of focusing on defending that. And you guys are going to see this in a minute to right here, I believe. But basically now you guys are going to watch some, I guess, pickle action, as well as Remo. I don't know how to pronounce that. But Boone had been kind of gathering up here, kind of murder balling on their tier 6 marches, and I will kind of talk about a lot here. So first off, Boone was in a situation where they actually had to fight this, I want to mention. And honestly, I don't blame them for fighting here, especially when they have the numbers and you're sending in like a solo tier 6 player. But in the case of, let's say, Pickle, right, where these guys are completely surrounded around his base, if Pickle just pops out and he sends, let's say, 5 marches, even if he's like tanking a little bit of skill damage, he's probably going to be taking pretty good trades, since he's able to refresh his marches a lot faster. And I mean, to be fair, with all these marches and all these tier 6 players around him, as long as they're able to actually swarm down his marches, get all their skill drops off, they'll be doing well. But the thing is, like I said, they're fighting so close to his base. This dude has better base stats than probably any of these players with his parts and his gear and all that, that if he jumps out of his base, hops back in as soon as possible, just keeps doing this around his base, he's going to be taking pretty good trades. And these guys have to actually distance themselves. And I feel like I've seen this a lot from Boone, where they tunnel vision, but they'd be fighting too close to his base, where he'd just have more of an advantage, right? In this situation, being it like refreshing and stuff. I do think that they honestly took the better trades here, especially against Remo. This dude was sending one march at a time. You would see these people kind of back up, and like I said, you want to kind of be further away, because if you are just trading like let's say normal attacks, right? I think they're going to be more even trades. But after all these marches that are swarming you start getting skill drops off on your on your marches, especially if it's like solo or something, you're going to be trading extremely well. Like all these skill drops coming off from multiple sides, and your one march is only able to get one skill drop off on one singular march. That one march is probably only trading positive on the one that is focusing, if that. So in general, it's just not really favorable to kind of fight in this situation. Honestly, I think these guys were a bit crazy, and you kind of see here some smart, like I think the smarter group was honestly around Remo, where they kept backing up after engaging his marches. I also want to mention that you want to swarm range marches, then rider marches, and then your infantry tank marches last. You don't want to be swarming, because okay guys, so range, I want to mention, has the highest attack, meaning that it kills the fastest, yet it has the lowest HP and defense and such. So that means that if you are to kind of melt it, it'll just go down way faster than the other troop types, and it's also more of a threat to be on the field damage wise. Then Riders is also a similar regard, but obviously not as, big of a damage dealer as, let's say range, and also doesn't melt as fast. But in general, you want to also focus those type of marches. So if you see like Lee and Lewis on the field, besides the fact that they're AoE, meaning they're dealing damage to multiple targets, you just want to get those targets out of there due to the single factor that they are easier to melt, as well as they just put out more damage, right? So that's why you guys will see a lot of people are going to be focusing, let's say Lee or something, and that's also something that I've seen a lot of mistakes from, where people wouldn't focus the proper marches. And like I said earlier, we're just fighting too close to a base. Honestly, at this point, I will say in Remo's case, this dude actually wasn't recalling troops much. He just would throw his marches out, get them swarmed down. Honestly, a maniac. These guys are beasts, though. The thing is about Boone, like I said, they weren't in a situation where they had to fight this, and they were probably getting really good trades here for that, the fact that these guys were just throwing their marches out, and, it's like, even though they can refresh them, there were just overwhelming numbers to the point where these guys were able to trade positive, as long as they're getting their skill drops off, right? But the thing is, like, Remo and them, they don't really care about how much they're, using, how many resources or speed ups they're using in this case, because they're absolute just beast maniacs. And that's the thing about Boone, although they have a lot of tier 6 players, I would like to say that they probably can't heal as much as these whales, and they have to be trading positive. So I think that them coming out here was somewhat sensible, since they probably wanted to drain the whales out. But honestly, the fact that these guys were able to go on as long as they did throughout the whole island kind of goes to show just how much endurance these guys had, how much they could exhaust. And Boone probably couldn't keep up for the most case, because although like I said, a lot of these guys have tier 6, they aren't whales completely. So the amount of fighting that they're able to do, the amount of healing that they're able to do is very minimal, and they're only able to drain so much before they're out of just juice. And that's honestly, I think at this point, Boone probably should just back up, kind of force Remo to maybe fight them in the top left, because you don't want him refreshing his marches as soon as they die. You don't want him just keep getting new and new marches out. You kind of want him traveling for that, kind of force him to, if he wants to refresh his march, actually either die or run away, giving you guys kind of hits from behind, because obviously if he's not fighting back, he's not getting those skill drops off, and he's kind of just running away and taking back shots, right? But you guys get my point. In general, I think that Boone did probably trade well, but I think that they also could have done better in a lot of cases, being it maybe focusing marches, maybe how they're handling where they're fighting. In general, it was probably, honestly, honestly, ANCS definitely could have fought that better, and maybe just not fought this at all, because honestly, they just didn't care. They just didn't care, so I can't really judge them that much, since they didn't care about their losses or how much they were healing. But in general, that they were just crazy. And then Boone just wasn't in a situation where they were overly like forced to fight. Like I feel the second they get this tower down, the second they get the troops inside, these guys can honestly wait until they want to place their next tower, or they like have to defend their troops coming out of that tower to kind of push the field. And like I said, they have overwhelming numbers of tier 6 players here. This is just a really good situation for them. And they did all right. I think that they did pretty good. They still were working together pretty well. They were working in good groups. Just still could have done better. Also, ANCS, this is the I think this is the last bit of the clips, but you're gonna see some whale swarms. You probably saw it in the last video, but I was, I like to say that I'm more of an objective player. If I don't see like really good trades that I can have, or like maybe good content I'm able to squeeze out of something, you're not gonna be seeing me fight unless it's very objective. Like let's say last island where I had to defend Doom, or if I have to place a tower and I'm forced to fight out, or just something like that. I don't fight usually unless I see really good trades or it's objective, generally objective, where I'm just forced to fight and I have to go into a situation. But that's why you guys aren't going to see like really a lot of fighting here, because I honestly don't find it very positive here. And I don't see us having much of an impact in this bracket, being that we just have no whales who have really good gear. We don't really have much of an impact that we can make besides maybe distracting ANCS a bit and kind of giving Boone and Mob some wiggle room, kind of fighting them on towers. And even then, if we were to take a tower fight, we would get absolutely murdered. And you guys are actually going to see us get absolutely murdered near the end of the island. And I'll kind of show that in another video. Also, this video is coming to an end soon, just so you guys know. But yeah, we get a little bit of whale beatdowns in here. Honestly, it was harder for me to focus on my account because these marches are so freaking small, and I wanted to focus on, obviously DPS marches. Tier 6 is just overwhelming, honestly. The strength gap between that and maybe tier 5 is pretty big, especially when you consider the amount of counter damage a lot of these have. You also consider the gear a lot of these whales have. It's honestly just it's disgusting. And honestly, I should have taken probably better trades than I actually did, but some mistakes happened on my computer. And if, like I said, if you guys watched my whale swarm video, you guys are going to understand what kind of happened and kind of forced me to actually take worse trades than I probably wished I did, being like the toggle all feature freaking messing up on me. But yeah, I mean, honestly, that is near about it of the video. I know I just blabbed on about some of the stuff that happened. I do hope that this video was helpful for any newbies or people who are kind of thinking about just field fighting. Maybe make sure that you're baiting better. Maybe make sure that you're not taking fights that are unadvantageous. Don't be going into someone's territory just running in their solo unless you're crazy. I saw that in like a lot of Boon situations. I will kind of show you guys in another video, but that is about the end of the video. So I appreciate you guys for watching as always, and peace out. Have a good day or night.